Today I wanted to change the washer in this beautiful little brass tap, but it's proving a little bit difficult because that is a part there that's supposed to unscrew and the washer is inside. I don't think this tap has been opened for at least 50 years. You can see what a strange shape it is. It's got a very short little nozzle, and apparently it belonged on the blue train and it was taken out when the train was refurbished in 1970. So it makes it sort of like at least 50 years old, maybe a little bit older. If you look at the top of the tap, it said Hoor Taps, Cold, Port Elizabeth, which is in South Africa. We have to start by undoing those fittings there. If you look underneath the basin, there's a very big nut over there, which is just finger tight, which is quite a blessing. Now I've got to take these two nuts off, I think. A bit of water. Luckily, I've discovered that if you look underneath this ridge here, there is a square, so I can actually put a shifting spanner underneath there and grip it very nicely and then loosen the one underneath. Now I grab the one underneath with the big shifter. There we go. Nearly there. At the top of the tap, just underneath the hand grip, is a little screw which I'm going to undo, and hopefully then I can just slide the top off. And then this part here. And then just underneath this base plate, there is that square I was talking about, right there. So I can use my shifting spanner to grip it. This is the part here that has to come undone. You can see that it's very tight. So I've taken my belt off and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the tap. And it's just twisting. Finally had to use the big shifting spanner to try and polish it up afterwards. It's only supposed to be hand tight. I don't think it's ever been opened. Seems to be a little looser now. Washer looks perfect. So now I'm going to get my tap seating tool and just change the end and put a bigger one on. Screw that into the top of the tap. And then by pushing this, it has a little spring on it. Pushing this and grinding it, I can smooth off the surface where the washer rests. You can see it's all shiny and clean and smooth. So the washer should sit a little bit better on there. I'm going to hold the bottom of the tap, which is square, put that into my shifting spanner, and then with the other shifting spanner just loosen the nut at the top. Okay, I've found that if I hold that tight, that part, I can actually screw the washer off. If I turn the handle of the tap, you can see this part over here goes down to close it, and you can see inside there is a lot of dirt which has got to be cleaned off, make the tap work a lot easier. Use the same wire brush to clean the inside of the tap as well. Now I'm going to put the new washer back. Just going to hold that part there, and then just screw it on. And that's on, and put the little nut on the top to hold it in place. Just has to be finger tight, really. Now I have some silicone grease, which I'm just going to put on the threads so we don't have this problem again in the future. Now with the silicone in, you'll see that this goes in very nicely, and we're just going to leave it hand tight. I also want to check the washer inside here, because the tap handle is very difficult to turn. So if I do take it off and loosen that again, I can actually just pull that out. Just going to have a look at this washer. I don't exactly know what it is. Seems to be a piece of string of sorts. That's how they did it in the old days. Now that's screwed in very nicely. You can put the tap back on, and you can see that it turns a lot easier. Yesterday I went back and reinstalled the tap on the basin just to check something, and when I turned the tap on, water actually came out the top here. So I did some internet searching on Google, and I found that this little piece of string that was in there, they called it packing, and it's essential. So I'm going to be putting it back. I'm going to leave the shaft in and try and put this down the side using a little thin piece of wire. And seeing that PTFE or plumber's tape or Teflon tape was first used in plumbing in 1969, this tap was probably made before then, so that's why they use packing. And even with the packing in, the tap seems to turn okay, up and down. This big nut to tighten it. Now I just want you to watch how I put the plumber's tape on. I have made a previous video about this, but you can actually see that it's really, it doesn't go on properly. It's actually very difficult because I've got no space for the hands, and so this is what I do. I get my tape on the end of my screwdriver and I'll wind it onto the screwdriver like that, fairly tightly. Now I start the tape on the side and then I'll wind the screwdriver around like that. And it comes on very straight and very tight. And I'm just going to put it on 3 times. And then I'm going to put the adapter on. I've put a little rubber washer in there as well. Now we turn it on for the first time. Probably a lot of air in the system. And it turns on and off very smoothly.